know.
Hey folks, Dave Olney here.
Never know.
You Never Know is the name of the show. And I'm just back. I just walked in the door, 10 minutes ago. I just drove in from Athens, Georgia, where I was down there and played at this Americana festival. I want to thank Adam Klein for putting that together. And I played at Hendershot's, sort of coffee and regular bar and hangout place. And I want to thank Bruce Whitlow for getting me a place to stay. And it was just a nice time. A lot of driving, but good. Okay, now I've got this long cowboy song that I want to play you. And I want to get started. Okay. The young cowboy walked up to see Doc Wilson. He said, "Doc, my head is like to split in two. When I stare into the light, the world gets dark as night. And a chill comes on me, Doc, what can I do?" Well, the old Doc felt his pulse and he checked his breathing. Then he rubbed his eyes and he read out of a book. Then he snorted and he wheezed. The cowboy said, "What do you see?" The old Doc said, "Well, son, it don't look good. A week, a day, it could be any minute. All I know is, son, your time ain't long. With your maker, make amends. Say goodbye to all your friends. And get it right, whatever you got wrong." They were drinking beers down at the Rose Cantina. They were listening to a song by Sweet Susanna. Pretty as a day in June, she sang slightly out of tune as the moon was rising full above Montana. The dying cowboy sat upon his horse stool, and he listened just as hard as he was able. After he heard her sing, he walked up with the drink, and he asked if he could sit down at her table. He said, "The Doc, well, he's given me some bad news. Says pretty soon I am bound to die. You know I'd like to have some fun and do some things I've never done." And she could see the lonesome in his eyes. She could tell the cowboy wasn't lying. So she took him by the hand up to her room, and she loved that boy to sleep, and in the morning kissed his cheek, and he rode away whistling Love's sweet tune. boys were dealing cards out in the bunkhouse. The cowboy came a-walking through the door. He said, I ain't got far to go. I've got to pay off all I owe, 'cause I don't expect you'll see me anymore. And then he filled them in on what Doc Wilson told him. They shook his hand and they passed the bottle around. Old pals, here's to you. Now I got one thing left to do on this earth before they lay my body down. Thunder was one horse no man had ridden. He'd thrown them all and left them in the dirt. Well, the dying cowboy thought, nothing to lose is what I've got. No need to worry none about getting hurt. So the dying cowboy climbed up on Wild Thunder, and the two of them commenced to twist around. Thunder roared like the devil, and his eyes glowed something evil, but he could not throw that cowboy to the ground. Well, the cowboy rode that horse till he was gentle. He said, boys, that was sure some kind of ride, but I reckon now it's through. There's nothing left for me to do. And with those words, he lay right down and died. In her room above the bar at Rose Cantina, looking out the window, sweet Susanna, combing her pretty hair, she feels a chill in the air, while the moon is shining high above Montana. Okay, that's The Dying Cowboy. And I started writing that song at least 15 years ago and couldn't bring it home. And then I think about 3 years ago, I took it over to John Hadley's and said, listen to this, and we banged on it and then forgot about it, basically. And then a couple of weeks ago, I needed to, get all my songs together, gather the tribe, and I ran across this song. I went, oh yeah, I kind of remember this, and listened to it, and then thought, yeah, there's something there, I think. And I, went back to John and said, John, listen to this. There may be a few lines we need to, fix up a little bit, and we, spent the afternoon last week doing that, and there's still a couple of things, just little things, But the idea, I don't know, there's something to me so cool about this young cowboy having to deal with his own mortality and trying to tie up loose ends. And then I remembered that this basic plot of this is from a Gunsmoke episode that featured Gary Busey. And I think I've actually seen this episode, but what I really remember is my friend Chuck Flood telling me about it, and his description of this Gunsmoke episode to me was much more memorable than the episode itself when I finally did see it. I can't remember if I did see the whole thing, but you know, there's something about it that really gets to me. And there's also something about cowboy songs can be really long. Why not? Because they're singing to a bunch of cattle. You know, it's like there's no record exec going, we've got to cut this down to 3.5 minutes maximum. You know, they just think, you know, what's the worst that can happen? You know, if cattle don't like it, I guess they could stampede. But basically, they're probably just going to sit there and not care. So I always liked that there was no time limit on a cowboy song. So that song is "The Dying Cowboy," and once again, thanks to everyone in Athens, Georgia. And the next thing I got coming up is next Tuesday at the 5 Spot in Nashville. I'm going to try and maybe get the band together for that one. I got to call everybody up and see if they're around. Okay, I guess that's it. Hope you like the song. Hope you're having a good time. Nashville is under a tornado alert or something, so I'm waiting for the big one. Okay, you never know. Bye-bye.
You never know. You never know.